J-Man here for another comic book review. We're talking about Action Comics number 1052. Who knew that we'd get to Action Comics 1052? Well, I knew it. I knew it from day one. No, I of course, come on. So, what do I think? Well, let's firstly talk about Superman. He is my favorite character. He's not my favorite comic book character. He's my favorite character. Not my favorite superhero. He's my favorite character in anything, and I love a lot of characters, but Superman is number one. All my life, Superman has been with me. I've been collecting on and off a little bit comics. I was pretty heavy in the beginning. Superman's death and that kind of 90s time period, I was pretty heavy. I got out of it for a while here and there. I got back on with New 52. I went off again. I got back on with Rebirth. So, no, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Since New 52, I've never missed a Superman issue. Prior to that, I had quite a lot. So pretty much Man of Steel with John Byrne, that's where I got really serious. And then I stayed serious for quite a while. And then I dropped off for a little bit and came back. Pre-Crisis Superman is awesome. I love Pre-Crisis Superman. I have a Facebook group for Pre-Crisis Superman. Love to have members. I think we've got 78 members or something. Join that Facebook group if you like Superman. It is Pre-Crisis only. That's not because I don't like modern Superman. It's just that I feel that modern Superman, there's a lot of sites dedicated to that. So I thought, why not do something that's old? Just to give some respect to the old stuff. And I love the Pre-Crisis stuff. It's a lot of fun and great, just great. You know, to me, that is Superman kind of, right? That's the Superman that kind of shaped everything. But I'm going to review this comic like I review all comic books, movies, and TV shows using my SPACE system, which is story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 for bad, 2 for amazing. So most comics should get about a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. If you get a 1 in every category, that means it's good. A 5 out of 10 is a pass. 5 out of 10 means that was an okay comic. You read it, you're like, yeah, that was cool. That's it. 6, 5, 6, around there. 7, 8, you're getting into the better stuff. So 7 and 8, it's like, okay, that was really good. 9 and 10, that's reserved for really special comics. A lot of my Spawn reviews lately have been getting 8s to 9s. I think I may have even given a 10 in there. If a comic gets a 10, or even if a category scores high, let's say I gave the artistry of this comic a 2 out of 2, which is a perfect score. If I give a perfect score to art, that is not saying that the art in that comic is equal to Neil Adams or Alex Ross or Jack Kirby or something. That's not how the SPACE system works. The SPACE system uses comics and rates them against themselves and their peer group. So I'm not rating this comic versus Alan Moore's Watchmen or like The Dark Knight Returns or something like that. We're not comparing. This is, if I give this, let's say I gave this like a 9 out of 10. I'm not saying this is, just as good. Let's say I give this a 10, I'm not saying this is as good as Dark Knight Returns. I'm saying for this comic, for this price tag, compared to modern Superman comics, how good is it? Superman is a special case. Most of the DC guys are special cases because of Crisis. There's still a post-crisis and a pre-crisis, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to take it even more specific because Superman has so many different comics and iterations and takes on the character. I can't compare this to even to New 52 really, because we're so far away now from New 52. So this is really going to be graded sort of in the, I don't want to say just Infinite Frontier because we're too close to that, maybe in the last few years. So let's say maybe Rebirth-ish and on. So if whatever grade I give this is going to be comparable to those comics. Because I do love Pre-Crisis Superman. Those comics are completely different in style and tone to post-crisis, and even by this point, the John Byrne stuff is kind of done now too, right? We're in a whole new level of Superman, a whole different kind of generation now of Superman. So it's hard to really compare these. Plus, let's face the facts. I obviously haven't read every Superman thing there is. I did a few years ago start with Action Comics 1, and I read up to about Action Comics 30. Just bang, 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 bang them all out. And very interesting going back and reading those really early Supermans. They're a lot of fun. I even grabbed the dailies, the newspaper dailies, the strips, and I've been reading those. And I've been listening to the old radio show of Superman. So I've been really, kind of like I went back and there's like 1,000 episodes of that Superman radio show. So yeah, it's a whole different ball game than what I'm holding in my hand. So that said, let's get on to the rating. Now, Action Comics is back to being an anthology book. So we have multiple stories. I love anthology books, especially the tales of suspense and astonish. I love that kind of thing where you got 2 stories, 2 characters, 2 stories. I feel that can either tremendously help a comic or bring it down. And the price point on this sucker, what is the price on this one? This is $4.99 US, okay? In Canadian, it's about $6.50. It's about $6.50 for this comic. It is thicker. I don't think we're getting the value, to be honest with you. I believe that, oh, actually, I just saw that picture. Where is it? This comic, this Superman #1, I reviewed this book. It's in the playlist for Comic Talk. I really liked this one. I think I gave this a 7.5 or maybe an 8. I'm not sure, but I think it was 7.5. This was a very good comic. And that's, again, in comparison to everything else. This one, I got to be honest with you, I did not like the War World thing. I actually thought that was way too long. And I feel that if this had been done in the Bronze Age, it probably would have been like a 2-part storyline. You know what I mean? Or maybe a 3-parter. I feel that comics definitely extend their stories now. Writers extend the stories to get it into a trade, right? And say, oh, we got to make this like a 6-issue story or 6-part story, then we can put it in a trade paperback and sell it off that way, because I think that's where a lot of the sales come from. People going to the bookstore. They don't go to the comic shop. They're not going to the local comic shop and grabbing stuff. They're going to the bookstore and picking up those trade collections. So yeah, Action. Okay, so this is now an anthology. And again, how am I going to rate this? Well, there's 3 stories here. The first story involves Metallo fighting the Super Family. I'm going to get to the Super Family and my thoughts on that momentarily. But I like this story a lot. This started off, I'll get to the pacing, but this has a lot of action. So it's called Action Comics, so there is action for once. So even though I didn't like the War World stuff, there's still ramifications of that. To be honest with you, I kind of skimmed that entire storyline. There's a YouTube channel that I listen to that kind of just recaps. I buy every issue. I always buy Action Comics. I always buy Superman. I got the physical comics, but I just kind of skimmed them while listening to this YouTube channel guy explain to me what happened, because I just thought the story was so boring. But the ramifications of that is that there's a few people from War World on Earth now, and there's people that don't like that, right? So that's kind of where you're coming into. And then there's these 2 kids who I don't even remember their names or whatever. They're living with the Kents. And they're not too bad. I'll get to that in the characters in a minute. But yeah, this first story, Metallo is being kind of coerced or, not controlled per se, but sort of like manipulated by someone who we don't know. And I don't think that we do, as the reader, know who that is. Or if we do, I've completely forgotten, and let me know in the comments, because that's a fail if I don't if it was already revealed. But I like the storyline. I love the way that I guess we'll get to the grading in a second. So that story is great. The second story, which I'm going to get to in a second here when I find it. The second story involves, I guess, John with this alien person. I don't even know who this is. This is Dan Jurgens, I think, this story. I also like this story, though I do not think it's nearly as strong as the first story in this book. But it's okay. There's like this robot hunting them down, whatever. I'm kind of interested in this just because I like Electric Superman, but John Kent has just been like kind of ruined. But so I don't know where that story is going. Like, it's okay. This story here, I skimmed it. This third story, couldn't care less. Like, this is like I know these people are like this. This does not look like anybody. Why are they in pants and stuff? And just, this is like not. I don't like it. I actually don't mind the art. I think it's very colorful and sweet, but it's very pretty. But not for Action Comics. This is Action Comics. What the shit are you guys doing? this first story, literally if it was just this, I don't know how many pages this is. Let me see. Oh, it's quite a bit. All right, so right here, it's about half the book. Literally cut this in half and make it $2. Like this here, if it was $2 for this, we would be close to a 10 out of, I'm bloody serious. We'd be close to a 10 out of 10 if it was just this for $2. Unfortunately, there's this. Now, half of this isn't too bad. But the storyline of that third, I don't even care about that third story. So I'm going to give, this is going to be hard to score now because, you know, normally this could have gotten a very high score. I'm going to give this a 1.5 out of 2 for story. Okay. I'm going to give it a 1.5 because the first story was awesome. The second story was okay, so that's a 1.5. The third story sucked. The first story takes up most of the comic, which is why you get a 1, a full point for that, and then half a point for the other one. So 1.5. Pacing, I'm going to give this a 1 because the first story was beautifully paced, lots of action in the beginning. When I open up an Action Comics, this is what I want to see, okay? I don't know why it's taken so damn long to get this. It's friggin' Superman, right? Like, he fights people. You need to have a good story. There needs to be a reason for the fighting. There needs to be some of Superman's character shown. But we need action. This is called Action Comics. Detective Comics is different than Action Comics. Finally, we got action. So I'm very happy. The pacing was amazing on this first story. Again, if it was just that first story, we'd probably be at a 2 out of 2. Unfortunately, we have this garbage at the end, which I don't care about. So I'm going to give the pacing a 1. The artistry, I really like the art here. I like the layouts on this too. It's only panelly. The fights are not panelly, right? The fights are not panelly, but then it is panelly a bit once it gets to the talking. But that's okay. The fight should be more dynamic, right? And this is an interesting kind of look too, the way they do these few pages. Again, the art is great in this first story. I like the colors too. And then this story to me is like, it's okay. It's a bit dull. It's panelly. It's kind of dull. And I do actually think that this art is very pretty. This kind of style. I actually think it's very pretty, but it doesn't suit Action Comics, in my opinion. I'm gonna have to go with a 1 again. I'm sorry, I gotta go with a 1 on art again. I do think this art is pretty, but it's not Action Comics, and it's like, what is this? Sorry. Characters. I'm gonna give the characters a 1 out of 2 again. I'm sorry, it's gonna have to be a 1 because yet again, the stuff here, Metallo is very interesting here. He's conflicted. He doesn't know what to do. His sister, she's getting these weird messages. That's an interesting story. That's an interesting character. Superman's always awesome, of course. I do like the kids, that they're interesting right now. The 2 little kids. I like Steel. I like Steel. He's great. I could probably do without the rest of these people though. I want Superman. I don't want Super Family. I'd be willing to accept Superman, Supergirl, Steel, and one of the Superboys. Like, why do we need to have multiple? I don't even know who these other people are. Oh, is that Steel's daughter or something? Is there a woman? Is there a girl Steel? Like whatever. I don't care about these people. Like, get them out of here. Superman, I would really prefer Superman by himself, to be honest. Jonathan Kent sucks. He was awesome when he was a little kid, and then thanks to Bendis, he made him a teen, and now he sucks, right? We don't need 13 Superboys, okay? Pick one, right? Just pick Connor. There, I picked it for you. Anyways, the rest of these characters don't care about, so it's a 1. Enjoyment factor 1. 5.5 out of 10 for Action Comics. Enjoyment factor, again, if it was just the half of this book, literally half. If it was just this, I'd be probably at like an 8 or a 9. But unfortunately, I paid for this other stuff. It matters because if it's $2, then it's $2. and then I got a great comic. If this was $2, half the pages, even if it was $3, half the pages, you'd be like, that was a lot of fun. I gotta read the next one. But here I'm like, I don't care about even this other secondary story. Like, it's okay, I don't care. So that's my opinion. I know some people really love Action Comics. I've been getting it since the dawn of time, you know, or since I could afford to buy comics on a weekly basis. Let me know what you think in the comments, okay, about Action Comics specifically. Superman, that comic was worth the money. That was definitely worth the price. That had great art, pretty interesting story. A couple of new things happened. We didn't know, don't know what's going to happen. There's some interest in that book. This one, this stuff is super cool. But unfortunately, I still paid it. It matters, guys. I'm sorry. The money matters, and I can't give it full marks. I'm giving it 5.5 out of 10. That's an average score, 5.5. It's an average book. It could have been a lot better if you cut some of the fat here. So that is it, guys. Okay, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments on this. Join the Facebook group if you like pre-crisis Superman. Come check it out. Right now I've been posting the daily news strips starting from the golden age, from things like 1939 was the first strip. It was so interesting because they didn't have any of there's no Kents. They didn't have any of that sorted out. It's just sort of like it goes right into the story. So it's pretty cool. But anyways, that is it, guys. Until next time.